Welcome to video number 2, why trying harder keeps you stuck. If effort could change you, you would already be free. If trying harder worked, your most disciplined seasons would have produced your deepest peace, but they didn't. They produced temporary control, followed by exhaustion, disappointment, and relapse. And that's not because you failed. It's because effort was never designed to transform you. Today, we're going to dismantle one of the most exhausting lies in modern Christianity, that change happens primarily through willpower. You know, most believers don't say they believe in willpower theology, but they live like they do. They believe, it may be quietly, that if they pray harder, discipline themselves more, white knuckle themselves through temptation, shame themselves into compliance, they will eventually become free. But Scripture never presents effort as the engine of transformation. Effort has a role, but it is not the source of change. And when effort becomes the source, it actually strengthens the very patterns you're trying to escape. Let's take a look at part 1, why willpower feels right but fails. Willpower feels righteous because it looks like responsibility. It feels spiritual because it looks like obedience. But willpower operates at the behavioral layer, not the belief layer. And here's the problem. Behavior is downstream from belief. When you try to force behavior without addressing belief, you create internal conflict. Paul describes this perfectly in Romans chapter 7. For what I want to do, I do not do. But what I hate, I do. You know, this is not rebellion. This is division. The mind wants one thing, the inner system believes another. And effort tries to bridge that gap, but it can't. Why, you say? Because effort has no authority over belief. It can suppress, but it cannot transform. Part 2, Romans 7 is diagnosis, not failure. Romans 7 is often misunderstood. People read it as Paul admitting defeat, but Paul is not confessing hopelessness. He is diagnosing the limits of willpower. He is showing what happens when someone knows what is right, but is still operating from an unrenewed eternal system. The law tells him what is right, but the law does not change desire. And effort cannot override desire indefinitely. That's why Paul cries out, "Who will deliver me from this body of death?" Notice the question. Not what technique, not what discipline, not what effort. He says, who? Because transformation is relational and not revelational. It's not mechanical. Part 3, what Jesus actually promised. You know, Jesus never said, you will try harder and effort will make you free. He said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Truth, not effort, is the agent of freedom. And truth does not mean information. It means internal alignment with reality as God defines it. That is why Jesus also says, Walk by the Spirit, and you will not fulfill the lust of the flesh. Notice the order. He does not say resist harder, fight longer, suppress more. He says walk. It's a movement, a direction. It's alignment. You're walking with Him. When the mind is oriented towards truth, behavior changes as a byproduct, not a battle. Part 4. So why effort can delay healing? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Excessive effort can delay renewal. Why? Because it keeps you focused on control instead of clarity. Effort says, I must manage myself. Renewal says, I must understand what I believe. Effort keeps asking, how do I stop? Truth asks, why does this feel necessary? As long as effort is your primary tool, you'll never slow down enough to examine the belief system. Underneath the struggle, you stay busy, but you're blind. You know, this is where many people disagree. And quite honestly, that's okay. You know, some will say, so, they come to the conclusion that, well, then effort doesn't matter anymore. Well, I didn't say that. Effort does matter, but only after truth reshapes desire. Effort without renewal creates exhaustion. Effort after renewal creates momentum. We've identified the battlefield. We've exposed why trying harder never brings lasting change. So now the question becomes unavoidable. What is actually shaping the way you think? Because behavior doesn't come from nowhere. Effort doesn't fail randomly. It fails because something underneath it is already deciding the outcome. In the next video, The Lies That Shape Your Inner World, we're going to expose the lies that quietly shape your inner world. The beliefs you didn't choose, but that learned to live inside you. This is where awareness deepness. Remember to subscribe and follow us in this series, Renewed. We'll see you in video 3.